Welcome to the Weekly Examiner, where we examine this week's top stories. I'm Lisa Rule. The first person to be diagnosed with Ebola in the U.S., Thomas Eric Duncan, died this week after his battle with the deadly virus. Duncan, who traveled to the U.S. from Liberia, was first turned away from the hospital in Texas when he showed up with signs and symptoms of Ebola. He was finally admitted to the hospital days later and couldn't recover from his diagnosis. Duncan's case, along with other cases around the world, sparked controversy over whether or not to screen airline passengers traveling from Ebola hot zones when entering the U.S. The White House and federal transportation officials announced this week that 5 U.S. airports will start screening passengers for signs of Ebola when they enter the U.S. from West Africa. The 5 airports to begin the screening procedures are where 94% of incoming passengers from West Africa arrive. This includes New York's JFK Airport, Newark Airport in New Jersey, Washington Dulles Airport in Virginia, Chicago O'Hare, and Hartsfield-Jackson Airport in Atlanta. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention said they believe these new measures will better protect Americans' health. President Obama this week is said to be exploring options for executive actions to close Guantanamo Bay detention facility in Cuba. Any executive action for this would override a congressional ban on bringing these inmates to the U.S. There are currently 149 inmates in the facility detained in connection with the U.S.'s post-9/11 war on terrorism. Should Guantanamo close, all the inmates would be transferred to facilities on U.S. soil. Obama first promised to close Gitmo at the start of his presidency. Malala Yousafzai became the youngest winner of the Nobel Peace Prize Friday when it was announced she would share this year's award with Kailash Satyarthi of India. 17-year-old Yousafzai became a leading spokeswoman for girls' rights to education after she was shot in the head by the Taliban in her native Pakistan 2 years ago, where she was fighting for education for girls. The man she shares her prize with, Satyarthi, fights for young people's rights in India. Next week, keep your eyes on the campaign trail. Congressional and Senate races are heating up around the country as the 2014 midterm elections draw closer. For up-to-the-minute breaking political news, be sure to stay with WashingtonExaminer.com throughout the weekend and look for the latest edition of Washington Examiner magazine on newsstands Monday.